This is The Pet Show with America's favorite pet expert, Warren Eckstein. Warren's the author of How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want, How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want, and he's here to answer all your pet and animal questions. Now, say hello to Warren Eckstein.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to The Pet Show. Are you being pushed around by your pug? Is your calico kitten absolutely driving you crazy? Does that beautiful Labradoodle have you a bit loony? Well, if you love your dogs and cats, and I'm assuming you do, and really want to get inside their head and understand their behavior and the way they think, almost as well as they understand your behavior and the way you think, maybe you're confused about your dog or cat's behavior or just want to improve their lifestyle. Doesn't make any difference. Stay tuned. Because once again, right here, right now, it is time for The Pet Show. America and Canada's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, and of course, pet lifestyle show. So hop up on my couch, bring those furry little buddies with you, folks. It is that time once again to let the animal analyzing begin. Hello, everyone. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show, the place where we absolutely, positively, never a doubt about it, love, adore, and as I stress every single week, respect pets and animals as much as you do. By the way, if you want to find out why your dog or cat is behaving a certain way and how to resolve any issues like jumping and digging and your cat is scratching, confused about the litter box, your dog is chasing everything he sees, you can't take him for a walk because if he sees another dog, he goes absolutely berserk. Maybe your cat's waking you up in the middle of the night, or maybe you adopted a brand new cat, brought it home thinking this was perfect, and all of a sudden, your home is like Armageddon. You get the idea, right? If you have a question about your dog or cat's behavior, no matter what it is, jumping, humping, doesn't make any difference, and want me to help you resolve any issues you may be having with them, or as I always say, any issues that your pets may be having with you, great time to give me a call. If you have a question or a comment, this is The Pet Show. I just want to share a great story about a dog or a cat you rescued, or maybe a dog or a cat that made you feel better, or maybe a dog or a cat that got you through a really tough time, or maybe you just want to talk about the first dog or cat you ever lived with. Great time to give me a call. The phone number here at The Pet Show, 877-725-8255. That's 877-725-8255. 877-725-8255. Give me a call and I help you resolve any issues that you may be having with your dogs and cats. And I'll resolve some arguments you'll be having with your pets too. That should be one of my questions. You ever argue with your dog or cat? I just had an argument with one of my dogs this morning. I'm not going to tell you what it was about, but we had a little discussion and, you know, as always, the dog won. Anyway, if you have a question or comment, great time to give me a call. Plenty of time to answer all of your pet and animal questions, as I said. Let me tell you guys what I have planned for today's show. Hopefully I have time to get to most of it. You know, let's face it. Everybody wants a dog that is well behaved, of course. And when the dog does something wrong, we tend to blame the dog, don't we? But really, who's at fault? You know, some of the biggest mistakes people make when training or educating their dog, I'm going to share those with you. You know, having trained as many thousands of animals as I've trained, it's very rarely a dog problem. It's usually a person problem. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. And if you want that well-behaved dog, stay tuned because you're going to want to find out how to create that perfect little puppy. Although no one wants a perfect dog. I mean, people say, I want my dog to listen to me all the time. Boring. I want my dog to say, hey, Warren, you talking to me? I like a dog with a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of an attitude. So we'll talk about that coming up. Again, that number, 877-725-8255. Also coming up on today's show. You know, I'm not living with any cats at the moment, by the way. Cats kind of let us live with them. But cats are amazing. They really are. And I absolutely, as many cats as I work with over the years, cats are experts, really experts at hiding the way they feel, emotionally and physically. And it makes it really tough for cat guardians to recognize stress or the feelings complex and difficult. You know, for example, would you know the common indications that something is wrong with your cat? Most people don't. You know, maybe they stop eating, you'll get that. Maybe they're not using a litter box the way they did, you might get that. But there are so many indications that your cat may be a little stressed out or going through some issues. We're going to take a look at that a little bit later. And by the way, if you love and adore your cats, and I'm assuming you all do, you're going to want to stay tuned for that because it's really, really important. You know, cats get the short end of the stick once in a while when it comes to behavior and emotions, and there's no reason for that. Also coming up on today's show, you know, and this is interesting to me. I've been talking to you guys between the radio shows and the Today Show and Regis and Kathy Lee and so many of the other shows I did, the Mickey Mouse Club, for years now. And when it comes to caring for your pets, most of the questions I get, people worry about their dog or their cat's physical health. And that's critical. That's important to question and worry about your dog or cat's physical health. But what stands out, there was a recent survey, and boy, do I agree with it. More and more pet owners like yourself are concerned with their dog or cat's emotional well-being. Now, that may sound a little strange to people, but hear me out on this one. For years, I spent almost 5 days, 6 days a week going to different shelters in the East Coast, working with dogs and some cats that were maybe turned in by their owners for emotional reasons. My dog's doing this and my dog doesn't do that. Blah, 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 blah. Bottom line here, folks, is listen to me carefully. A new study came out, and I could not agree with it more. More and more pet owners like yourself are becoming more concerned about their dog or cat's emotional well-being. And that's so critical. You know, I don't know how many, but I'm sure a lot of my listeners have been to shelters and rescues because you listen to the Pet Show. A lot of you adopted and rescued your dogs. And when you go there and you look at these dogs in their kennel and the cats in their kennels, you can look in their eyes and you can see that there's so much more to that dog or so much more to that cat than people think. And yet they wind up at the shelters. And I got to be honest with you. With the thousands of dogs I've rescued from shelters, and my listeners, like you guys, have rescued from shelters, if you take the time to understand them, if you take the time to let them know they finally have a good home, if you take the time to let them know they're going to get their square meals every day, and if you let them know every day that they're loved, what a difference it makes in the way they come around. So I'd love to hear from you if you have any questions or comments, 877-725-8255, or perhaps you think that maybe your dog or cat is having an emotional issue, and they do. There's a lot of emotional issues that our dogs and cats have, and we can't blame it on them because, as I've always said, our emotions go from one end of the leash to the other. If I'm working with a depressed person, very often I have a depressed pet. If I'm working with a overly excited person, very often I have an overly excited pet. So very often our dogs and cats mirror ourselves. I'd love to hear from you guys on that take as well. I believe they do. What do you think? As always, plenty of time for all your questions and comments. So if your pet happens to be chewing, maybe jumping, maybe that new cat you rescued or took in from the streets is a little confused about the litter box. Maybe you never used one. Maybe that rescued puppy isn't totally housebroken. Maybe that dog you took from the shelter has separation anxiety because he's had so many different homes in a short time. Maybe your dog's depressed. Maybe your dog's chasing anything that moves or hates other dogs and some people. Your cat scratched your favorite chair. Or your dog believes that everything he sees, he must hump. Give me a call. 877-725-8255. 877-725-8255. That is the way to get through to the show. Plenty of time for your calls. I didn't really come up with a question of the day, but I think I'm going to use this one. Very often I hear, well, it's just the dog, it's just the cat. So I'm going to toss this out. Do you consider your dogs and your cats the family dog or cat, or do you consider your dogs and cats, as I do, part of my family? They are part of my family. I don't treat them any different than I treat the rest of my family. Maybe I treat my dogs and cats a little bit better. So that's the question. Do you guys literally believe that your dogs and cats are part of the family? I want to know. Give me a call, 877-725-8255. Plenty of time to answer your calls as well. Lots of good stuff coming on today's show. I'm really going to talk to you about this because so many behavioral issues and so many dogs wind up at shelters, no fault of their own. It's because the people that they live with have no comprehension of what living with a dog's all about. There's so many misconceptions and so much confusion We'll talk a little about the confusion coming up a little bit later as well. 877-725-8255. Let me do this. Let me take a quick break. We'll get to our phone calls in just a minute. I promise I'll get to all your calls no matter what I need to do. I didn't get to too many calls last week, so I'll make up for it today. 877-725-8255. But I want you to listen to me carefully. All right? You guys love your dogs, right? But what about those dogs and those cats that don't have a home? What about those cats that are running all over the streets as strays every day? What about those dogs that are never rescued? Well, let me tell you. I want to tell you why it is so important and why I started recently sharing my Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund with all of my listeners. First of all, Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund is a 501c3 not-for-profit. I started it many years ago with one goal in mind, and here is why it is so important. At the Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund, which is mine, by the way, we search out every single, the most deserving small rescues and humane groups all across America. You know, these are the small groups that do the majority of animal rescue, but you never hear about them. You never see them. Why? Because they're made up of volunteers, and they're so busy trying to save as many animals as they can, they don't have time for fundraising. They really don't. It's not like the big groups, which do great work, but they don't have marketing people and public relations people and speakers and big mailings. They just have themselves with their dirty hands going out saving dogs and cats. And that's where you and my Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund come together to make all the difference in the world to these small groups. You know, the ones you see having a garage sale to raise $50. We have the ability, you and I have the ability to raise money so that they can continue their life-saving work without worrying about it. Every single dollar, listen to me carefully, every single dollar you donate goes directly to aid the humane and rescue work. Just read the thank you letters at the website. Check out the website, hugsandkissesanimalfund.org. That's hugsandkissesanimalfund.org. And these are the people that really do the work. When you go to the website, you can donate, small, medium, whatever you need to donate. You can donate there either with your credit card or PayPal. But a lot of people prefer sending a check. And if you'd like to send a check, call this number and I'll give you all the information. This is the number for Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund. 623-349-7212. That's 623-349-7212. Let's keep these people working. Let's keep the animals being saved by the people you don't know, but the people that do the work. Check out hugsandkissesanimalfund.org, and I guarantee every single penny you donate goes directly to them, even the expenses I take out of my own pocket. So check out hugsandkissesanimalfund.org or call 623-349-7212. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is the Pet Show. 777-725-8255. Let's start out with a phone call right off the bat. Let's go to beautiful Lewis, Delaware, and my friend David. Hey, David, welcome to the Pet Show. David, can you hear me, David?
Maybe Stephen?
Is it Stephen?
Yeah. Okay.
Are you the guy with the 9-year-old cat?
Yes.
All right. What can I do for you, Stephen?
He's been with us for about 2 years now, and my partner's the one that adopted him, but he adopted me. And at this point, he won't ever let me be. I have to have him on my lap, in my chest, on my face. How do I break him?
Okay, a couple of things. First of all, I don't consider that a problem. I consider it a joy, but I understand what you're saying. It could be a combination of social bonding, security, maybe the people that had him before you, maybe there was one person similar to the way you sound or talk or smell. Could be any number of things. Could be security, could be boredom, but it could also be a sign of stress. Now, was this an adopted cat?
Yes.
So we don't know anything about its background, really, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we don't know if it bonded, and you might be just that type of person. So let me give you a bunch of reasons for the behavior. Number one, it could be a combination of social bonding and affection, a combination. Could be security, could be boredom, could be lack of enrichment, could be changes, could be a health issue as well. What you really want to do with the cat is, number one, establish a predictable routine. But more importantly, is to increase the stimulation for the cat. You hear me talk about this all the time. You know, cats are nomadic by nature, and they don't get enough changes inside, and we need to keep them inside. So here's what I'm going to recommend. Cardboard boxes, change them every day. Paper bags, they're free. Change them every day. Grow organic catnip for the cat. And when you're home sometimes, just go into another room. That's why God created a door. I know it's hard love, but sometimes they need to learn how to be by themselves. It's also maybe the way you're showing affection to the cat is a way that maybe he either received affection in the past or has never received affection. Prime example, one of my dogs, Willie, and we adopted him, they were a little bit older, but Willie he was abused and never received affection. And to this point right now, when I first got him for the first couple of years, he was like Velcro. He was on me like, I'm telling you, like glue. And little by little, increasing his confidence, keeping the routine the same, letting him grow a little bit on his own by just closing a door, making the environment more interesting, changing the environment around. I didn't use cardboard boxes. He's a dog, not a cat. But all of those things will make the difference for you. But let me ask you a question, David. Why is the cat being on top of you all the time so bothersome?
It's not bothersome, but I just want some freedom every once in a while.
Sorry, boys. I can't meet you today. I have to stay with my cat. Follow my advice in terms of closing the door, making sure that you increase every day the paper bags, the cardboard boxes. Try that for a few weeks. That should make the difference for you. Also, what I would try is they have these things at the pet stores. You can get some pheromones. You can plug a pheromone into a wall in a different room, and the cat may be more attracted to that room than even you. So those are the approaches that I would take right now, and little by little, he may leave you alone for 5 minutes at a time, but no guarantee, Stephen. He loves you.
All right.
You have a great day, Stephen. Give that cat a big hug and a kiss for you. Thanks. It was interesting. I was just talking to someone this week who adopted a dog and said, Warren, how do I make my dog more affectionate? And here's Stephen. But it's true. It is so true. It can go either way. If you rescued a dog or a cat that had never received attention, and all of a sudden they're getting it, they just go crazy and they want it 24/7. On the other hand, if you have a dog or cat that may have been abused or ignored, and there's mental abuse as well, sometimes they'll react the same way. But what a great question that was. And good luck to you. Good luck to you, Stephen. I appreciate the phone call. 877-725-8255. I got to take a quick break. When we come back, I definitely want to get to you, John, in Delaware. And I want to get to Karina, not too far away from I am. Karina, I can come to your house and help you out in Maricopa, Arizona. We'll get to your calls right after this. The phone number again, 877-725-8255. And let me just stress again, and most of my listeners have rescued or adopted or saved dogs and cats. If you want to check out and help me work with the thousands of people, the thousands of small groups all across the country, check out hugsandkissesanimalfund.org. We're going to take a break. We'll get back to your calls. We're also going to take a look at something a little different. A lot of people complain that they can't keep their dog's attention. I'm going to teach you the secret that trainers and behaviorists use to make sure they have their dog's attention all the time. 877-725-8255, the phone number. 877-725-8255. Quick break, then right back to your calls. I'm Warren Eckstein, and yes, you are listening to The Pet Show. So I promise I'll get to both of your calls. Before I do that, though, I want to share a secret. This is a secret I learned in Europe many, many years ago, and a lot of trainers use it nowadays. It's how to get your dog's attention. You know, first thing you want to do is teach your dog to look at you when they say their name. Our dogs hear us say their names countless times every single day. Sometimes we want something from them. Other times it can mean nothing. That's exactly why your dog needs to know that when you say their name, they should look at you and give your attention. Say their name, reward them. If you want to use a treat, that's fine, or a hug and a kiss, I prefer. Now, here's the bottom line. Avoid using their name unnecessarily. That's important because very often if they're hearing the name constantly, they have no need to really respond readily. So make sure you use the dog's name when you want the dog to come to you. That's number one. Make sure you use the dog's name and respond. And the second part of that is use what we call a marker word. What is a marker word? You can say good boy, good dog, I love you, whatever you want to say, good girl, whatever, makes no difference. Using those two steps, you can now get your dog to be attentive to you, which is going to save you a lot of trouble in the long run, because training or educating your dog requires your dog being able to focus on you, not get distracted. And let's face it, I've been known to do the same thing, just use my dog's name for no reason. So make sure when you use the dog's name, there's a reason behind it. 877-725-8255. Let's go to my friend John. Hey, John, welcome to the show.
Hi, Warren. How are you?
I could not be better, John. How about yourself?
Very good, very good. I'm calling from Lewis, Delaware. We rescued a dog, about 5 months ago, and talked to you in July about a bad habit he picked up of grabbing everything off the street when we'd walk him.
Oh, yeah, the sanitation dog. I remember the sanitation dog. He cleaned up the neighborhood.
Pretty much. But you gave me some good advice to come up with a phrase like "leave it," and he would drop the items, which he did. And so I just wanted to thank you for that good advice.
So he's doing okay now. You can take him for a walk, and he's not picking up all the garbage on the street.
Absolutely. It's perfect.
Great. What kind of dog was it again, John?
He's an Australian sheepdog mixed with a poodle, just a little guy.
Oh, what a combination. Australian. There's so many combinations now. You know, when I was first starting, it was easy. It was a collie, a German Shepherd, a Pointer. Now they have so many combinations, a schnoodle and a cockapoo and a labradoodle and a cockadoodle and this, so many doodles out there. I don't know, John. Anyway, I'm really glad it worked for you. Enjoy him. You're going to have a lot of years ahead of you, being able to take him for walks that are a lot longer and a lot more enjoyable for you and for the dog at the same time, based on the fact that he's not picking that stuff up. I really appreciate you calling back to let me know how it worked out, John.
All right. Thank you, Warren.
Give him a big hug and a kiss from me. I appreciate that. Hey,
Okay.
The phone number, thank you. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255. See, it's not as hard as it seems to be. Let me start out. Karina, I might have to put you on hold, but let's start out with Karina. Hey, Karina, welcome to the show.
Hi.
How you doing?
You can put me on hold if you need. Don't worry.
You're such a, well, you know, I've been living in Arizona now for a little over a year, and Arizona people are so much friendlier. They're just amazing people here. I'm not too far from you, by
I
the way.
do like us people here. Although I
know,
hail from California. Don't judge
Yeah,
me.
well, I hail from Long Island, and then I moved to California for 25 years, and now I live in beautiful Arizona.
Oh, yes. Well, did you need to put me on hold?
No, go ahead. Ask me a question, then I may have to put you on hold. What's your question?
Okay, sir. So I don't have a behavioral issue I wanted to talk about. I have something different. I got very busy recently with my job, and circumstantially where I live and time of day, I can't walk my dogs every day like I used to.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for creative solutions. Like during the summer here, right, I have to figure out creative ways to play with them inside the house.
Sure.
You know, out of the sun and out of the heat. But now it's cooling down, and I'm trying to figure out, as I'm busy, since I can't walk them every day, that's their favorite thing.
Do you have a backyard? Do you have a backyard?
Yes. Yeah,
Let me
big
tell
backyard.
you, Karina, you have come to the right guy. Can I brag a little bit?
Yeah.
Years
Please
ago,
do.
I wrote a book called Pet Aerobics. And the book was specifically written when I was still living in New York. So the exercises I'm going to give you, they could play in Arizona, they can play in New York as well. So number one, what I would recommend that you do, obviously, is make your backyard more interesting. If you were to go to my backyard, you would see a tetherball. I have a little obstacle course set up. I change it around. I hide things in the backyard. In my backyard, I have a little kiddie pool where I hide things so the dogs can go in there and dig in their own yard and leave my petunias alone. So the basic idea is to make your backyard interesting and change it every once in a while. This way, when you don't walk them, they start looking forward to going into the yard. That's number one. Number two, there are things that you can do inside in the hot weather. Now, many of my listeners years ago when I was in New York lived in the city, and they couldn't walk their dog late at night, or they didn't want to walk their dog by themselves. So I did something called staircase staircase sprints, going up and down the staircase on a regular basis with a treat on the top and a treat on the bottom, and playing monkey in the middle. If there's another person in the house, you can do that as well. Of course, you can go jogging with the dog when the weather allows it. If you have a pool near you, maybe some swimming. Now, here's something that's going to sound a little eccentric, and heaven forbid, Karina, I should ever sound eccentric. I did a segment years ago on Good Morning America. I was doing this segment with Ronald Reagan Jr. I don't know what he's doing now, but years ago he was a host over there. And he was asking me a similar thing. So what I did is I set up a dance class for people and their dogs. Don't laugh, I did. And I had him dancing with his dog, and people do it anyway. So put on a good record. If your dogs like country music, fine. If they're into hip, whatever they're into, and dance with them. Anything you can do to get them emotionally and physically active and moving is going to work. Now, when I wrote the book, Pet Aerobics, people were a little crazy. Does it really make a difference? Absolutely. Number one, it's good for you. Number two, it's good for the dogs, because let's face it, a dog that is feeling healthy physically is going to behave better mentally. So those are some ideas I have. Did that help a little bit?
It did. Do you have a second for a follow-up question?
Can you hold on?
Yes, of course.
Karina, hold on. I got to take a break. We'll come back to you and answer your follow-up question as well. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. We will help her with a dog and her exercise. Literally, Pet Aerobics. It was an amazing book. I don't know if it's still in print, but it saved. In fact, Pet Aerobics, the book I wrote, had 4 pages in People magazine where they called me the Jane Fonda of pet exercise. As a veteran, I wasn't thrilled about being compared to Jane Fonda, but the guru of pet exercise I can take. We'll get right back to you, Karina. I want to talk to you now about a real important subject, and somebody that needs your help, and I'll tell you why. I want to tell you about my friends at Delta Rescue and how they're making an incredible difference, saving thousands of dogs and cats abandoned by owners, ridiculous, stupid, ignorant owners. Your donations can absolutely, positively, without a doubt, change the destiny of these poor animals that had no shot, no chance whatsoever. For almost 50 years now, my good friend Leo Grillo and Delta Rescue would never be able to do the absolutely amazing work they do every day without you, my incredible listeners, and your support. From saving lives every day to providing lifetime medical care for over 1,500 animals. I believe that Delta Rescue is one of those groups that really deserves your dollars. By donating to Delta Rescue or making a bequest in their estate plans, it will make your legacy work for the animals when they need it most right now, saving fundraising costs and actually providing tax benefits for you. Everybody wins. Every donation, every single one, $1, $5, $100, $1 million, every donation is a chance, an opportunity to keep more than 1,500 dogs, cats, and horses, not just happy, not even just healthy, but actually loved for the first time in their lives. And that's really important. Delta Rescue, by the way, is a top-ranked charity by GuideStar.com. Log on to deltarescue.org. That's deltarescue.org. Or text them directly to dogs 801-801, dogs 801-801. And by there, sign on to their YouTube channel at youtube.com/Leo Grillo, Animal Rescuer. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. And we are back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Got a question or comment? The phone number 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. Let's get back to Karina in Arizona. Hey, Karina, you still with me?
I'm here.
Okay, so what's your next
sir.
question for me?
Okay, so my follow-up on that, which I love the idea. I love it. I can do that for the backyard. Like obstacle course and search and find. One of my dogs.
Even besides search and find, tetherball in the backyard. You know, there's lots of things, hiding things. All those things can make a difference. But go ahead.
Yes. No, thank you. So she's more of a hunting breed. So would you recommend? I have a feeling she's a rescue. I don't really know what she is, but she loves searching. So what would you recommend doing? More for her. She loves mental stimulation.
And you said you don't have the opportunity to walk her a lot?
Yeah, so 3 times a week versus 7 days a week like I used to. So half the week, and then half the week I want to spend just with them at night.
Okay, here's what I would recommend. You know, part of my background, was teaching dog search and rescue. That's where I worked at Ground Zero with these dogs, working on search and rescue with them. But basically, what I recommend to people like yourself, if in fact she likes to search, hide things in the backyard for her to find. But more importantly, there's something we call a sniffcation. And what you can do is when you have the opportunity 3 days a week to take them for walks, take them to different locations. All the different smells in different locations, maybe where there are raccoons or possums or other dogs. This will engage her mind and her nose at the same time. So if she's one of those dogs that really likes to look for things, taking her to different places where the smells are different locations as often as you can will make all the difference in the world in her behavior and the way she feels. The other thing you can do, if she's really, well, I don't want to go too deep into the search and rescue aspect of it, but if you hide stuff in the backyard, that's really important. But also, it's so important for us to remember that a dog's nose, Karina, is like our eyes. So when we go for a walk, we're looking for this, we're looking for that. Oh, there's so-and-so. Oh, look at that. When a dog goes for a walk, it's all in their nose. Everything is within their nose. So taking them on a sniff vacation, especially a dog that likes to search for things, to look for things, is absolutely great. If you want to go further, if you have a friend or someone you can work with, you can have them hide somewhere when you're taking your dog for a walk, and take your dog, and when he finds them, it's like you hit the lottery, and that will encourage him to search more. So those are, you have to make it fun. One of the problems at Ground Zero is they weren't finding, and I don't want to get too serious, but they weren't finding a lot of people. There were no survivors, and the dogs were taught to look for survivors at first. So they actually had to take some of the rescuers and make them into victims, so that when the dogs found them, they found someone alive and got re-excited and regenerated to go look for more. So all these things make a difference. Put those pieces together, and I promise you, you'll have the happiest dogs in the world. What are their names, Karina?
Their names are Oliver and Willow.
Oliver and Willow. And where did you get them from?
I got Oliver from a rescue in Santa Barbara, California, and I got Willow from a rescue in Phoenix, Arizona.
And do you know anything about their backgrounds, or did you just adopt them sight unseen?
No, I just loved them. And they came
and they get along, and they get along with each other. So listen, your backyard needs to look like a gymnasium. Change it every day. If you have friends that can come over, I mean, one of the best things for exercising a dog is find something they absolutely adore and playing monkey in the middle. As I said, a lot of my listeners and clients years ago lived in New York City, and they couldn't take the dogs out for walks in bad weather or whatever. So what they would do is go into the hallway and they would play monkey in the middle. They'd one on one side of the hallway, one down the other side of the hallway, and they'd roll a ball or whatever they were playing with at that point. So there are many things, anything you can do to stimulate the body and the mind at the same time is really critical for a long, healthy, happy life.
Love it. Thank you.
Karina,
really
thank you. Thank you for listening. You keep listening to the show. Maybe I'll bump into you sometime in Maricopa. I thought I got to figure out where Maricopa is. I know I'm in Maricopa County, but I don't know where Maricopa, the city, is. But
Pinal County. I know. You're close. You're in Peoria-ish.
Yeah, not too far away. Anyway, give those two dogs a hug and a kiss, and thank you for listening to The Pet Show.
Thank you as well.
All right. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at a couple of things that are really important. The 10 biggest errors that most pet guardians make when educating their dog. And for my cat lovers out there, we talk a lot about dogs and stress and our dogs feeling depressed or anxious. Well, cats get that too, and a lot of people have no idea how to detect it. So we're going to talk about that as well. And should you be concerned? A lot of people are concerned about their dogs and cats' physical well-being, but maybe not as concerned about their emotional well-being. And as you just heard me talk to Karina, sometimes they go hand in hand. 877-725-8255. 877-725-8255. Let me take a quick break, and then we'll get back to your calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. To the right place. I'm Warren Eckstein. You're listening to The Pet Show, America's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, pet lifestyle show. If you have a question or a comment about your dog or cat, you just want to brag a little bit, great time to give me a call. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255. If your dog is jumping or humping or digging, your cat is scratching, not using the litter box, attacking the other cat, we'll get to your calls. Again, 877-725-8255. Ryan and Deb will get to you in just a second, and I mean just a second. But before I do that, I was talking a little bit before about the 10 most common mistakes that people make when training, or as I like to call it, educating their dog. Let me go through a couple more. Inconsistent commands and expectations. How many times have you told your dog to sit or to come and the phone rings and you walk away? Each time the dog doesn't respond to you is one more time the dog's going to be confused as, do I need to respond or don't I need to respond? Be consistent. Another one, this is really critical. No yelling, no screaming, and no physical corrections. Those are mistakes that people make. Who wants a dog that responds to them because the dog is afraid of them or fearful of them or doesn't want to be yelled at? I want my dog to respond to me because he loves me and I've taken the time to educate him properly. And really, really important, with all the training in the world, all the training in the world, probably the most important thing you can do as a good pet owner or guardian is make sure that your dog gets the socialization he needs and he gets the training in real-world situations. The phone number, 877-725-8255. Coming up, we're going to take a look at cats and stress. And I was going to get to this last week. I'm going to get to you just a second, Ryan, but it was kind of interesting to me. Years ago, when we went out to buy a car, we would buy a car that our wife would love or our husband would love or our kids would love or our mother-in-law would love. Not so much anymore. Most people now that have a dog are looking for a car that is dog friendly. I'll tell you what to look for. Kind of interesting when we come back. Again, that's 877-725-8255. By the way, I'm sharing a lot of info. So some of the stuff I don't get to, if you go to my YouTube channel and subscribe, it's free. It's simply youtube.com. My name, Warren Eckstein. youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Check it out. Lots of great videos there as well. But right now, let's go to, I believe it's Ryan in Lewiston, Idaho. Hey, Ryan, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hey, Ryan.
Hello.
Hi,
hey,
Ryan. How are you? Good, real good. What's
I'm
up?
doing all right. I was just calling, listen to your show every chance I get. Usually I'm at work. Have tried some of your tips in the past with educating our animals. I was called and had said my daughter has a American Staffordshire dog that we got from the pound or the local kennel here. And apparently it has been a couple of different owners that had this dog. Real bad food aggression and, just real timid. This dog did not even know how to play when we got him. And we've had him for about 2 years, almost 3 years or so, and completely 180-degree turnaround.
Oh, that's so great to hear. That's so great to hear. It's an interesting breed of dog, the American Staffordshire Terrier. That's what it was. You said American Staffordshire?
Yep.
Yeah. American Staffordshire Terrier, we see the Staffordshire Terrier, the Amstaff is a little bit bigger than the American Amstaff's a little bit bigger than the Staff from England. The reason I'm so familiar with the breed, you're probably too young to remember, but those people out there that remember, I'm Buster Brown, I live in his shoe. This is my dog Tig, I live there too. Buster Brown Shoes and Clothing. The last dog trained for the Buster Brown Company was trained by this amazing guy you're talking to right now. He was an Amstaff also that I put through his obedience degree, and then he was a Tig. That was his name, Tig, obviously. And I took him all over the country and exposed him to kids at malls and shopping centers from Hawaii to Seattle to Bangor, Maine. So yeah, it's amazing, Ryan, and I'm so glad you called because a lot of people don't understand that when they first adopt a dog or bring a dog home, sometimes they're able to check the background and find out what the dog had been through in the past several different homes, which is very often very common from dogs at shelters. They've been in one home to another home to another home, which is really not fair to the dog. But thank God, Orion, that the dog found you. And with a lot of care, some good advice, good intentions and consistency, and taking the time to educate him, now you've taken Cujo and turned him into Lassie. And it happens all the time. I mean, they're not all going to be perfect, but if people would just take a look back and try to say, you know what, this poor dog has been through so much. Why did people give him up? They gave him up because he had a behavioral issue. And rather than take the time to resolve the behavioral issue, they just gave him up. Someone else adopted him. That same behavioral issue was there. They brought him back. And thank God he found someone like you, Ryan, and your family that was able to take the time. What are some of the things you did to help him socialize a little bit?
It was mainly my wife because she was doing it while I was at work, but when I'm at home with her and all of that. So I'm not quite familiar on how she went about it, but we've gotten to the point where we can set his food dish down. We have him sit, and he will sit there and stay until we tell him, okay, now you can go get it.
Oh, great.
And he gets a little antsy and all of that.
Well, why don't you try this? Why don't you try this? Okay. Instead of feeding him just out of the one bowl, what I would do is no more food. I don't want a chubby Amstaff. No more food, but take the food you're feeding him, put it into two different bowls, feed him at the same time with the bowls about a foot or foot and a half apart. This educates him and lets him start to understand the concept that when one bowl is empty, there's always going to be more food around, so there's no need to be possessive over that first bowl. He might have been around other dogs in the past. He might have been in a situation where the other dogs, or came from a large litter where the other dogs didn't give him the opportunity to eat, so therefore he became possessive over his food, or he was denied food. But sometimes just putting down that second dish, I've actually gone to certain situations, Ryan, where I use the third dish. This way the dog realizes there's always food around, and it takes some of that edge off. But I'm so glad to hear. What's the dog's name?
His name is Remy.
Remy. I'm so glad to hear that Remy finally has after 2 years. That's how old he was when you got him, Ryan, right? I'm so glad.
Yeah, he was about 2 years old or so.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that his life has made such a drastic change around from being either depressed or anxious or concerned.
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
When we got him, he was practically almost skin and bone.
Yeah. And
he was losing his fur. We come to find out he does have a food allergy. So we've got to give him a strict, chicken, lamb diet.
Sure.
Can't have any beef or anything. But when we got him to the vet about it and everything, because he was chewing out his hair on his tail and by where the tail attaches, to the back end. And they put him on prednisone, and I don't like medicating dogs unless they absolutely have to. It changes their personality. But in this situation, it changed for the best. He gained weight. He went from practically skin and bone to gaining like almost 50 pounds within a month.
Jeez.
And everything. And he still has a little bit of itchiness and everything, and we don't know if it really is a food allergy or if there's something in our backyard.
Well, at one point, your vet can actually do an allergy test on the dog, and they can determine whatever allergy it may be, and they can actually make a little vaccine for the dog as well. So, but right now, you've had him for a while. He's doing so well. The only thing I'm going to recommend is that second dish I think would be beneficial to you, and just letting him know how lucky he is to have found your home in beautiful Lewiston, Idaho. Great call, by the way, Ryan. Keep in touch every couple of months. Give me a call. I want to keep up with how Remy's doing, okay?
Absolutely. You guys keep up with your guys' stuff, and I'm appreciative of what you guys do.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, and bless you for rescuing Remy. Great story. I'm going to get to you, Deb, and I know you have an interesting question. I'm going to have to take a break. When I come back, I want to get to Deb in Maryland. Deb, by the way, has had two 19-year-old cats. She had to put one of them down. So sorry to hear about that, Deb. About a month ago now, the other cat is being really picky with her eating. So we're going to try to help Deb out. We got a couple of open lines, pretty rare. So if you have a question or a comment or want to share a great story, maybe you adopted a great dog and have seen changes in that dog or changes in that cat, I'd love to hear from you as well. It encourages other people to do the same thing. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. Deb, let me take a break so we can come back and talk to you in detail and resolve the issue that you may be having. But right now, I want to tell you what's going on my website, thepetshow.com. And remember, it's always thepetshow.com. Remember, THE is part of it. All one word, thepetshow.com. Now, here's the deal. For years now, you guys hear me talk about the importance, if you walk a dog, or even walk by yourself, the importance of having one of those air horns that I talk about all the time. I introduced them many years ago. I think there's some people having, but we have them right now available on my website, thepetshow.com. And here's the deal. If you buy one of the air horns, and they now come in two different sizes, there's a regular size and an extra large size. And if you walk your dog, if there's coyotes or stray dogs or people that may be a little weird as well, you want one of these air horns with you. If you buy one, either size, it'll be 15% off, two would be 20% off, and three or more, 25% off. So check out the air horns at thepetshow.com. And while you're there, copies of my book, First Time Ever, are now on sale at the website as well. How to get your dog to do what you want, how to get your cat to do what you want. Check them out at thepetshow.com. And here's something that will really make me feel good. At the website, thepetshow.com, check out those amazing T-shirts with my, I guess this is kind of my logo. None of my friends walk upright. I wear this shirt all the time, and I got to tell you, expect comments from people you pass when you have a shirt that says, none of my friends walk upright. The shirt now comes in an array of colors. I don't see colors, but they tell me they come in like 10, 15 different colors from sizes small to 5XL. And every time you buy a T-shirt, that money I donate right back to the Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund. So go to the website, thepetshow.com. While you're there, check out the air horns. Get them while they're on sale. As I said, 15% off one, 20% off two, 25% off three. Check out while you're there. Also check out the T-shirts and check out copies of how to get your dog or how to get your cat to do what you want. Again, at thepetshow.com.
Monkey jumping on the bed.
No more monkeys jumping on the bed. We are back on the Pet Show. Great time to give me a call if you have a question or a comment. Want to share a great story about your dog or cat. Want to find out why they behave the way they do. Or just want to brag a little bit about a dog or cat you rescued. And the reason I say that every week is because very often when someone calls and talks to me about a dog or a cat that they rescued and now the dog or cat turned out to be their best friend and their buddy, it encourages other people that are listening to say, you know what, maybe we should go to a local shelter or rescue humane society. Maybe we should adopt a dog or cat and give them that great home as well. Boy, it's good for them and it's good for you. Great time to call me. Again, that number, 877-725-8255. Even if you just want to answer the question, which is pretty easy today. Do you believe that your dog or cat is part of the family or just a family pet? Give me a call. Let me know. 877-725-8255. Let's go to my friend Deb. Hey, Deb, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay.
What can I do for you, Deb?
All right. Like I said, I had two 19-year-old cats. I had to put one down a month ago. So she went over the rainbow. And my other one was always not that she's not friendly, but she'd always sleep all day in the front room and come out occasionally. But now she comes to me and she wants to sit on me and I brush her a lot. But she's not eating. She'll eat a little bit of her wet food, like maybe a teaspoon, where I know she used to eat more. but she's eating dry food and her treats. And I also give her a push-up every night because I don't want her to leave me also.
No, I don't. I listen. My heart is 100% with you. But let me explain a couple of things. Obviously, your cat is grieving the loss of their companion, which can cause a lot of behavioral changes, like decreased appetite. It can behavioral changes, like all of a sudden the cat wanting to spend more time with you. I don't know if the cat's becoming more vocal, but that could be a sign of it also, or restlessness. So one of the things we're concerned with, because it seems like the cat is doing okay, other than eating. Is you want to make sure you check with the vet to make sure the cat is healthy, obviously. But you need to make the food more appealing. How do you make the food more appealing? As you said, you've added some wet food into it. But let me tell you one of the secrets, okay? One of the secrets is that cat's nose is pretty good. And if it doesn't smell the same, or if it doesn't smell like they hit the lottery, they may not want to eat it, especially when they're going through the grieving process. So what I'm going to recommend that you do, number one, is even take her dry food and let it sit overnight in some low salt bouillon, chicken or beef bouillon, whatever that may be, to put more flavor on it. Using a little bit of the canned food is fine as well. But the other thing that's critical is before you feed it to the cat is to make sure that you heat it up a little bit in the microwave first. Just for a couple of seconds, then give it to her as it cools down a little bit, because heated food smells so much stronger and so much better. And as I said, cats eat with their nose. So that's one of the things I'm going to recommend that you do, is heating up her food a little bit. In terms of loving her, she's 19 years old. I hope she lives to be 120. But the bottom line is she's coming to you right now for comfort. And I can tell in your voice, you are the type of person that's real comforting to her. So that's really critical. But understand there are, it's only been a month since she lost her best friend, but there are changes that could occur. Try to make the environment as calm as you can. Talk to the cat as much as you can. Try to stick to the routine with one cat as you had with two cats. All of that's critical. But try heating up the food. I think that's going to make a difference. If not, you can call me back and we'll go further. But I think that's going to make a big difference for you, Deb. I hope that helps you out.
Yes, that's something I didn't even think of doing. But yes, thank you.
You give that a shot, and you give this cat a big hug and a kiss every day for you, every day for the cat you had to say goodbye to, and one for me as well. Because right now, not only is this cat grieving, I can tell in your voice, Deb, you're grieving at the same time. So it's not just that the cat needs you, you need the cat at the same time. You're bonding incredibly well since the loss of the other cat. Try the heated food. Give me a call back in a week or two. Let me know how you're doing. If you have to, we can go a little bit further. But as I said, give that cat a big hug and a kiss for you, and one for me as well. Great call, by the way. Appreciate it, Deb. Phone number here at the Pet Show, 877.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. 877-725-8255. 877-725-8255. Plenty of time for your calls. 877-725-8255. Let me take a quick break here, then we'll get back to your calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. You're listening to The Pet Show.
His only thought, and though he's slippery, he still gets caught. But then if that sort of life is what you wish, you may grow up to be a fish.
Diggity dog diggity. We are back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. If you have a question or want to share a comment about your dog or cat, they're jumping, they're humping, they're digging, your cat's not using the litter box, your cats are not getting along, dog doesn't like your new boyfriend, you take your dog for a walk and he sees another dog or a skateboarder and all of a sudden he turns into Cujo. If you have a question or a comment you'd like to share with me, want me to help you resolve any issues you may be having with your dogs or cats, or as I always say, any issues they're having with you, great time to give me a call. We have an open line. The phone number, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. That is the way to get through to the Pet Show. But I want to spend a minute or two, maybe a little bit longer. You know, I've been doing this show now for almost 48 years, and most of the show is focused on how can we help our pets resolve any issues we're having, whatever that issue may be. I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about our own health and how our pets are good for us. In fact, I want to focus specifically on why our pets are good for your brain health. I want you to listen to me carefully. Senior or not, listen up. It makes perfect sense that walking a dog regularly would help keep you fit and in a happier mood. But for older adults, owning a pet is also actually linked to better cognitive functioning. This, according to the Center for Disease Control, pet owners may see less of a decline in thinking, remembering, and making decisions just by having a pet. In fact, research suggests that regular contact with pets, including pet ownership, is linked to better cognitive function in people who don't own or have regular contact with pets. So even if you're just with a pet occasionally, it can make a difference. Fostering pets, day caring for pets can make all the difference in the world. That's because pets provide older adults who may be more prone to social isolation than others with someone to talk to, receive sympathy from, interact with, and avoid social isolation, which has been linked to dementia, according again to the CDC. You know, over the years, I remember years ago, I was working with Catholic Charities in New York City. Actually, it was in Queens. And it was a senior citizens housing project run by Catholic Charities. And they had a rule there that no pets were allowed. And it was a problem for a lot of people. A lot of the people that were living there had grown up with dogs or had dogs and cats their whole lives, but they were no longer allowed to have them. I'm going to tell you that story in just a second about this guy and what having a dog made changes in his life. But I want you to listen carefully. The benefit may actually be even greater for those people that suffer with dementia and even Alzheimer's disease. A study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease found that people with Alzheimer's who had a pet were more likely to keep doing daily activities such as taking care of themselves. For those with the disease, it may even slow down the progression of symptoms. I'm telling you, we are just learning now the benefits of our pets really have. So this is proof here that dogs and cats for every age doesn't make any difference. I mean, I've worked with dogs and cats for autistic children and chronic schizophrenic adults. This study specifically was for older adults, but it's amazing the benefits, the changes in personality, the changes in the way we feel is incredible. So let me tell you this story. I don't think I've shared this with you guys before. As I said, excuse me, I was working with Catholic Charities in New York City, and they were thinking about starting to let some pets in. So I got a call, and at that point I was the head trainer for Assistance Dogs International, a big organization. And the call came in about someone who lived in the Catholic Charities housing, double amputee, really gruff old guy, old fisherman, beer drinking type of guy. You know who I'm talking about, right? So I went to meet him, and I sat down with him and had a long conversation. I got to tell you, not an easy task. This was a real, I'm looking for the cantankerous, that's the word I'm looking for, type guy. But he grew up with dogs, and he felt that maybe he would be better off. He was unkempt. The apartment smelled. His hair was a mess. Didn't use deodorant. Didn't shave, nothing. My job was to find the dog for him. I scoured shelters. I scoured pounds all over New Jersey, all over New York, even parts of Connecticut, till I found this perfect dog for him. God knows what he was. He looked like an overgrown Basset Hound. But I said to myself, oh, by the way, did I tell you the guy was a double amputee in a wheelchair as well? And I said to myself, this dog, and by the way, the dog was an older dog at a shelter, and the dog's name was Barney. So I adopted Barney, and I said, I'm going to introduce Barney to this gentleman and see what kind of reaction I get. Barney was just one of those dogs that made you laugh. So I brought Barney to meet the guy at Catholic Charities at his apartment. And at first he was a little hesitant, blah, 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 one of those moody guys. Then I walked out for a while, and I let him just hang out with Barney. And him and Barney started to bond a little bit. And I came back in. I said, well, what do you want me to do? Does Barney go back now? And he said, well, I want Barney. Barney's my friend now. Here's what I noticed. This gruff old double amputee living in Catholic Charities, I think it was Brooklyn or Queens. I don't remember exactly. I think it was Queens, maybe Brooklyn. Anyway, I came back. I trained the dog for a couple of months so that the dog would understand the concept. He lived in an elevated type building. I had to teach the dog to wait for him to get his wheelchair in the elevator and out. I taught the dog to pick up anything that he dropped, if he dropped this or he dropped that. Anyway, the bottom line was he had to take the dog out for a walk. And because of that, he had to buy dog food. I noticed the next time I saw him that he started combing his hair. He put on a clean shirt. The apartment didn't smell the way it did. In fact, the apartment was cleaned up. And I'm saying to myself, does this dog make all the difference in the world for this guy? All the difference in the world? Well, it turned out that when he would take Barney for a walk, he would go to the local bodega or store to buy dog food. And when he was there, he would meet people. And he met this lovely lady at the bodega while he had Barney there. And they started talking and talking and talking. And they became good friends. And they started, I don't want to use the word dating, but they started to become companions. All because of a dog rescued from a shelter. I'm not taking credit. I'll take credit for the training of the dog. But what an amazing turnaround. What an amazing turnaround, not only for the dog Barney, but for the gentleman as well. His whole life now changed. He was inviting people to his apartment. He was taking the dog for walks. He was socializing. He was enjoying life for the first time since his wife had passed away many, many years ago. And what was it all dependent on? All dependent on this strange-looking giant Basset Hound mixed whatever the heck it was mixed with dog that brought life back into this gentleman, made life worth living for him. And that dog and him for years. And, you know, I lost contact years later, but they were doing great. And as I understand that the relationship between the dog, the gentleman, and the woman he met at the bodega became really, really one to be proud of. Great story. I'll never forget it. Brings tears to my eyes when I think about it. I'm going to start sharing more and more of these stories, and I don't mean to do it from an egotistical point of view, but to explain how incredible animals are. Got a question or a comment? Want to talk about the story? Give me a call. The phone number 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. Let me take a quick break, then right back to your phone calls. I'm Warren Eckstein, and yes, you are listening to The Pet Show. On The Pet Show, I'm Warren Eckstein. Phone number here is 877-725-8255. So I started talking about it last week, and I never got to it, but you know, years ago, even nowadays, most people, when they go out and they're looking to buy a new car, they have, whether they have young children, whether they have senior parents that they're driving around, or they pick out a car that's good for their wife or good for their husband, but not so much anymore. According to some new studies, some of the key features that new car buyers are looking for is pet-friendly vehicles. Remember years ago, I was doing a segment on my Today Show, regular Today Show segment, and I brought on a car. It wasn't manufactured yet. It was one of the cars. It was a prototype, and it was a Chevy Tahoe, whatever it was, and it was made specifically for pets. What was different about it? Number one, it had a dish in it on a gyro, like on a boat. So you could put water in, and the water wouldn't spill over because the gyro would balance it out as you were driving with your pet. That's number one. Number two, it had a built-in vacuum cleaner, which anyone who has a dog knows that dog hair can get over the car. Besides the built-in vacuum cleaner, it had a slide-down ramp in the back to make it easier for dogs to get in and out of the car. All of these things made a big difference. So it clued me to look into some more research. So here's what we're going to do. This is what people look for. Low load floor. A low trunk or cargo floor makes it easier for pets to get in and out. Flat folding seats, more room for the kennel. Cargo hooks and tie downs. And the type of interior, maybe leather's not the way to go. Something durable and something easy to clean might be better for you. So all that said, they came out with a list of the best cars or the best type of cars, not by brand name, but the best type of cars for your pet. Of all the cars, the worst, absolute worst, was hatchbacks. So if you have a hatchback, it may work, but it wasn't the best choice for a pet. Next worst was minivans. I didn't get that at first, but minivans were also considered not great for dogs. Wagons were considered pretty good. Now, of all the cars tested, of all the different types of cars tested, they came up and suggested that the best and the safest car for a dog specifically is an SUV, a sports utility vehicle. Maybe they're right. I don't know, but I got to tell you, I don't think I see more sports utility vehicles on the road than anything else. And the other thing they talked about, and I want to share this with you as well, is a lot of people, first of all, you should never have a dog loose in the back of a pickup truck that's untethered. Absolutely not. Please, none of that. In terms of taking your dog in the car with you, having a carrier that can be tied down is important. And the reason for that is when you're driving, if God forbid you have to jam on your brakes, which I have to do pretty frequently, or you have to stop short for whatever reason, or God forbid there's an accident, if the dog or the cat is loose in the back of the car, it's like a projectile going at 70, 80 miles an hour flying, which means they're going to go into the windshield, which is going to harm them, or into the back of your head, which is going to harm you. That's why it's so important that when you take your dog in the car with you or your cat, you have them in a safe. And there are so many out there. They have car seats for dogs. Kind of looks a little weird, but they have car seats for dogs. So the next time you're looking for a new car, keep your dog into consideration, because I think it's now 65% of people in this country live with a dog or a cat. And that means that 65% of people are going to travel with their dog or cat, perhaps in their car. And I think that's really, really important. I think you're going to see that more and more. That, and I think I'm starting. Jeep at one time had a special car. I don't know if they still do, but had a special pet package. I don't know if they still have that or not, but I think you're going to start seeing more and more of that, where certain car brands, whether it be an SUV, whether it be a Lexus or a Chevy or a Ford or whatever type of car you have, there's going to be options. You can have air conditioning. Of course, most cars come with air conditioning. You can have a radio, which, by the way, a lot of cars are losing radio. Shame on them. But it's also going to come with some specialties for your dog, some of the ones I just recently talked about. So it's interesting to me that because so many people are now living with pets and pets are considered part of the family, my question of the day, not just a family pet, that even things like buying a car, even real estate now, people take into consideration what's not only good for their human family or those of us that walk upright, what's good for those of us that don't walk upright. So next time you're looking for a car, perhaps, just perhaps, an SUV will be in your future. The phone number here, 877-725-8255. Let me take a quick break here. Then we'll try to get to some calls. And I got some more stuff I'd like to finish up with you guys. By the way, if you're not following me on YouTube, a lot of this information I'm sharing, I put up on YouTube. It's youtube.com at Warren Eckstein, ECKSTEIN, youtube.com at Warren Eckstein. Subscribe. It's free. When you go there, you'll see what I'm talking about. There are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of videos explaining about how to deal with pet behavior and you and some fun stuff as well. So check out youtube.com at Warren Eckstein. But right now, I want to share again, I'm involved with rescue and I want to talk to you about Delta. And if you were sure, really, really sure that when you donated money, it would go to where you need to, if you were sure every dollar you donated can actually change the destiny, the life of dogs and cats that had no other shot in life, of course that's a legacy we all want to leave behind. For almost 48 years now, Delta Rescue and my good friend Leo Grillo would never have been able to do that work without you, my listeners, and thank you for your support. From saving lives to providing lifetime medical care. Lifetime medical care for over 1,500 dogs and cats. Do you know what that cost? Delta, by the way, in my opinion, is a group that really deserves your dollars. That's why I made a bequest for Delta's rescued animals in my own estate plans. Why? A bequest to Delta Rescue will make your legacy work for the animals right now, avoid fundraising costs, and actually provide tax benefits for you. That means the pets win and you win as well. But I get it. You may not be ready to make long-range plans, but every donation is an opportunity to keep more than 1,500 dogs, cats, horses, not just happy, not just healthy, and not just safe, but actually loved. And that's so important for the first time in their life. Go to deltarescue.org. That's deltarescue.org. Or text dogs to 801-801. That's dogs to 801-801. By the way, Delta Rescue is a top-ranked charity by GuideStar.com. While you're there, subscribe to their YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/Leo Grillo, animal rescue. Check out deltarescue.org today. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet. Out of time. I don't want to rush you. Miriam's calling from Kingman, Arizona, and she has an overweight dog named Sparky. Miriam, give me a call next week because I don't want to rush, but I want you to listen right now, okay? Let's talk about chubby Sparky. Number one, it's like almost 60% of dogs and cats in this country are considered obese. The best way to get the weight off of them is, first of all, to check with the vet to make sure they're healthy, but to feed them smaller amounts of food more frequently throughout the day. If you normally feed the dog twice a day, maybe feed him 3 or 4 times a day, but smaller amounts of food gradually increase the exercise factor as well. And the reason I say it's always good to check with the vet first, we want to make sure there's no physiological reason that's causing the dog to, in fact, gain the weight. So, Miriam, give me a call next week. I did write the book, Pet Aerobics, and we will get your dog, Sparky. I love the name Sparky, Sparky. Sparky was the name that, from a Christmas show. Anyway, call me next week. I will help Sparky get that svelte look back again. And it's so important. People don't realize, it's hard to admit that our own dog or our own cat or ourselves are gaining weight. So sometimes we don't take into consideration that they're putting on the pounds till it's really, really poundage and they're a little obese at that time. And obesity affects our dogs and cats no different than it affects us. Diabetes, arthritis, all kinds of joint problems and other physical issues as well. So, Miriam, please call me back next week. I want to spend time with you. Let's get Sparky down to that good weight that he's important to be. So give me a call next week. Check out youtube.com, Warren Eckstein, youtube.com, Warren Eckstein. Until next week, give all your pets a big hug and a kiss for you, a special one right between the ears for me. I'm Warren Eckstein, and thank you for listening to The Pet Show.